James, you left your thing over here. Wait, what's your name?
Chris.
Well, Chris, you left your
Oh,
thing.
my
Left
PS.
something here and you got signed.
Shit.
James Chris, that's it.
It said
Yeah,
James.
they call me James. It's Chris.
I said
I said James.
We were yelling James.
But it's Chris.
Chris from San Antonio, all the way from Texas.
Well, that's
How soon we forget.
I said James.
No,
You
look
forgot
at
your
me.
thing, and he's
I
like,
got the poster.
Because I was like, I met Kelly, and I left
We're all
on my
yelling
shit.
like
calling
James.
Yeah,
His name is Bob. What
I'll
is
answer
it?
Chris. Maybe. Whatever.
James.
Okay, but he
Chris.
didn't write his name
It's,
on anything, so that's why I didn't know.
Dumbass is his name.
Listen to this. This is the tape I found downstairs.
Monster kids are the product of the movies they weren't supposed to watch as kids. They're not horrified or offended by the dismemberment of a female ingenue. Monster kids pull the wings off flies and giggle low in the corner. Monster kids like to drink and talk shit. Monster kids will be the bright, new future of a dying world.
So, welcome to episode 2, season 1.
That's right.
Here we are again.
Here we are, Lazer Wagon Podcast.
What have you been up to, man?
Man, so I went to my second out-of-state convention
Right on.
last month. I went to Burbank, California for Son of Monsterpalooza. This was recommended to me or kind of brought to my attention by Mark from Disco Bloodbath. So he does that show. He does Monsterpalooza in Pasadena as well as Son of Monsterpalooza in Burbank. It's a little bit smaller of a show, but it is heavy on special effects, creature creation. You've got people sitting in makeup chairs. I don't know how it works if they just grab you and say, hey, do you want to sit here for 4 hours while we make you look like you're in a scary movie?
Sign me up.
Yes, exactly. I was like, how do you get that role?
Yeah.
So they would work on these people, and I tried to get a little progression as I was through the show, but then they fix them up, and you've got these professional makeup artists working on you, and it's just really crazy to walk around, and then each time you come by, now they've got horns, and now they've got, their chest is ripped open, and there's blood all over them, and 4 to 5 hours later, they take them outside, and they do some professional photos in front of the banner, and it's just a really cool show. It's very unique. Some of the vendors even seemed different to me than the Texas shows. I don't know why, but it was just heavy on, like, miniatures and dioramas.
Yeah.
It was just cool. I felt like I was in a different planet until I saw Mark from Disco Bloodbath. So then I see these Texas vendors, and it's really cool. You feel, okay, there's somebody I know and stuff like that. So,
Well, I got to say, like, my ass was sitting at home, and so you were giving me the play-by-play the whole time you were there, and I felt a difference in the shows just from the photographs that you were sending me from, what we've done recently.
yeah, you were able to pick up that just some of the pictures I was sending you was you were like, wow, this is kind of different. Like the vendors are different. It's a different feel, a different animal, and which was a lot of fun. It was neat to be there, and the main reason I went was to meet Bruce Campbell. So stood in line 4.5 hours.
Jeez, man.
And,
dedication.
Big dedication. But for anybody going to Texas Frightmare, Bruce will be there. I will just say pack your patience. You're probably going to be waiting 4.5 hours minimum. I don't know. I can only imagine. This was a smaller show compared to the size.
I was going to say those lines at Frightmare are always a beast
Yes.
for those guys like that. So
Exactly. So anybody that wants to meet Bruce, go there first. Use your line skips if you're VIP. But Bruce Campbell, I mean, what can you say? Like, it's Ash Williams, the
Yeah,
chosen
yeah.
one. So
the chosen one.
the chosen one. He that was the main reason I went, and I got to meet him. I got a really cool photo op with him. He wasn't the handler at the signing. Was very adamant. People in front of me were saying, I want him to write "Hail to the King," and they're like, no quotes. He's not doing quotes. Like they were trying to. I mean, it was definitely like just in and out, move them as quick as they can because it was a lot of people. So, but when I got down there to him and I handed him my Necronomicon, he was like, "Oh, the book," and he said, "Let's see." He said, "Burn this." So I thought that was cool that I got. It wasn't really a quote, but it's a little advice, and it matches up with what Sam Raimi wrote, which was "Burn this book" in the beginning. Also met Dana Di Lorenzo, who's Kelly, Kelly Maxwell. Oh my god!
Boom,
But
boom,
yeah,
boom,
boom, boom. She had me a flutter, and when I met her, what she wrote in the book, she said, let's see, and she wanted me to pick the page. She said she's not good with decisions, and I heard her tell someone else that. She said, because if you just say, oh, wherever you want, she's like, no. She said, I'll be here all day. Tell me what page. So I'd already picked out a page. I was like, this is a good page for Kelly. And she said, well, what should I write? And I said, well, Sam Raimi wrote Burn This Book. And she said, okay. She goes, well, I'm going to write Fuck This Book. So she wrote it on there in Kelly Maxwell style, which was so great.
Yeah.
And again, I almost felt like a lot of times I don't have a lot to say to these people. I'm just like, I just want my signature, and I'll move on and not take up their time and just wear them out. But I started, like talking too much and had to tell her about, on PlayStation, you're the first character that I played on Evil Dead the game, and I maxed
Nerd
it
alert.
out. Big nerd. I was like, any chances I've got with Kelly are not happening when I'm talking about video games. But
Right.
she was impressed to the point where she said, oh, wow, you maxed out Maxwell. And so she grabbed a jewel case for a PlayStation game and kind of like a free autograph, I guess. She signed the PlayStation book, and she said, thanks for maxing out Maxwell. And but then we get my book signed, get the PlayStation thing signed, and get the selfies, which, was so great. So then we're finishing up, and I grab the book. I leave the PlayStation case because in my mind, I'm like, get out of the way. That's not mine. And I go and I make a lap. So then I'm coming back around, and somebody gets out of her line. It's only been like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And somebody goes, Steve. And I'm looking behind me for Steve. I'm like, Steve? And she goes, wait, what's your name? And I go, Chris. And she goes, well, Chris. She goes, you forgot something. And then I remember, I'm like, oh, what an insult. Like, she gave me this free autograph, and I just left it there. I'm like, I don't want that. Of course I did. I was just starstruck. So then,
She probably gets that all the time.
she probably does.
Yeah.
And we were joking around, and she was like, what? She's like, sorry. I said, how soon we forget? Because she thought it was cool that I was talking to her about how I missed her in San Antonio. And it was just a whole big joke. But then while I'm there, I'm like, okay, I don't know what time the photo op is. I'm like, so while I'm holding the line up, what time's the photo op? So everybody got a kick out of that. And but it was super cool for her to do that. She didn't have to sign that extra thing. And so, and she told me too, she said, you came here all the way from Texas? And I said, yeah. And she goes, wait a minute. You're just here to see Bruce. And I was like, I mean, yeah, but no. So anyway, that was a lot. And then to round out the Ghost Beaters, Ray Santiago was there, who plays Pablo El Brujo Especial,
Nice.
which so funny. And what a great guy, man. He was so freaking cool. And it was just neat to see all three of them, a little mini Ash versus Evil Dead reunion. So that was Burbank in a nutshell. The other thing I had to go do was I missed Sean Clark in Houston. I don't think he made the show. And I tried to get a picture with him every time. Well, I knew Chris Nelson was going to be there. So Chris Nelson is on my Mount Rushmore of Hollywood special effects artists.
As he should be.
As he should be. He's the bad motherfucker of Halloween masks.
Yeah.
And you can see if you ever watch any of Thing with Two Heads podcast, he's got a plethora of all his work, kind of a histogram behind him. He did the makeup for Exorcist Believer. And like he'll tell you in the Instagram comments when people are kicking that movie in the balls, he goes, look, I don't care how bad you think the movie sucked. I'm proud of the makeup, as he should be, because the makeup is fucking killer. So anyway, I wanted to meet Chris Nelson. So stood in line to meet them. And, of course I had to tell him, it's just started, had my Thing with Two Heads podcast shirt on. So automatically that got their attention. That I think that bought me at least an extra 3 or 4 minutes.
Sure.
So I was like, will y'all say something really stupid for me? And they're like, of course, you bought our stupid shirt. We'll say something stupid for you. So I grabbed a little sound bite for them to do an intro, a little Hop in the Wagon Loser, which hoping to drop at the intro of the Burbank video, which is coming soon.
Right.
I've had some editing stuff going on, but that is coming to the channel soon. And I did get Chris because he also did the Corey Cunningham mask. So I got a little Chris Nelson signature on that, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was Burbank in a nutshell.
Sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
I mean, you packed a lot into what, a day and a half?
I did. And the one thing I will tell you about this one is I kept feeling guilty for, I felt like I wasn't getting enough footage for the videos, but at the same time, I felt like I was actually a fan this time, and I wasn't so much worried about the camera and capturing vendors and getting certain shots and cosplay. I got some really kick-ass cosplay, but I was a fan first, and I kind of missed that, and I want to find a balance with that.
It didn't feel so much like work.
Yeah, it didn't feel like work at all. I was like, one, I'm stuck in a line for 4.5 hours for Bruce, so that's 4.5 hours of not getting content. But I got to relive the joy of being a fan at a convention that's not trying to just document everything, because I do feel like I miss out on some stuff when I'm doing that. So all in all, great fan experience. Hope to add it as an annual reoccurrence, or maybe swap out Monsterpalooza, the bigger one in Pasadena. I do think it hits around Frightmare, so that might be tough to do. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to con wise.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it.
I hate that it was such a whirlwind trip for you, but I think maybe that was maybe it was a good thing.
It was, yeah. Left early on a Friday, and I was back on the plane at 7 a.m. California time Sunday, and I think I was back home at 1 o'clock on Sunday. So it was definitely a whirlwind, but made some cool connections. They had Famous Monsters of Filmland had this badass photo op. It looked like an old 70s living room. They were looping the old Planet of the Apes cartoon on this old CRT wooden cabinet television, and people were just constantly rotating in and out, getting selfies and stuff in there. So I got a shot of me sitting down in there. That was a lot of fun. So, but yeah, it was a great show.
Well, I got to tell you, the only thing that I hate about this is that I wasn't there.
Yeah, I hate it too, because
sitting my ass in Waco, Texas.
Yeah, because I could not get any footage of me, interacting with these celebrities, because I was there doing it. And then last weekend I went to down to Houston for the Houston Horror Film Fest, Haunted, Halloween Market, and music fest. So that was a lot of fun, just a one-day event, but Tony and Scott always knock it out of the park, and that's something I want to make every year. It's usually the weekend before Halloween, so it's at the Wildcatter Saloon, which is a great venue. It was really unseasonably hot for October, so I took my Johnny cosplay down there, and maybe wore it for 30 minutes, because I don't.
Not a great day for a leather headpiece.
Not a great day for flannel and leather hoods. Just not 95 to 100 Houston temperature. Yeah, not good. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you've been super busy.
Yeah.
So you're working on a video for both of those right now,
Working on
right?
those in tandem, and it's actually, I don't like to release the videos out of order, but I am going to go ahead and do Houston video first. It's about 85% complete. Look for that in the next week, probably. It's just a quick walkthrough. Again, it's a one-day show, but there was a lot of cool. I did get the cosplay contest, most of that recorded. I kind of got roped into being in it. I was just walking around, and they were like, "Cosplay contest?" I was like, "No," and they were like, "We need more people," and I was like, okay, so there's a portion where I missed, but once after I went up and everybody's like, who's Johnny? Then I got down and I got everybody else, and there was a great Killer Clowns group, My Bloody Valentine. On the kids cosplay contest, there was probably 6 years old, Terrifier 3 Santa Claus.
Nice.
Parenting done right.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, it was so great. And obviously that kid won that, but we'll try to drop in a shot of that as well. But
I was going to say, can we use maybe a little bit of that
for sure? Yeah, you've got to see this kid. I mean, they knocked it out of the park, and there was a lot of other cute kids and some group cosplay, and in the adults there was about a 6'5" Sam from Trick or Treat, which normally you think of Sam as about 3 feet tall. So there's a lot of good cosplay and some dedicated fans for it being almost 100 degrees outside.
Right. And don't forget about the vendors. The
vendors,
people out there in the tents.
Oh my gosh, I kept joking with them, and they didn't think it was that funny, but I was like, staying cool out here, just keeping it cool. And Brush by Air was there. Who else do we have? Jackie Offline, it's always a sweetheart. Love her to death. Headstone Hot Sauce was there. Misfit Toys. I'm forgetting a lot. Chantel Renee was there, peddling her books, and just a a lot of really good vendors. Some cool stuff I haven't seen before. So there was a vendor doing like some powder coated Stanleys. I haven't seen that before. Like we've all seen the powder coated Yetis, but now they're up in their game with the custom Stanleys with Friday the 13th and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah,
we could probably link those.
100%.
Yeah,
We'll try to link some of these vendors in the description below because you got to go check them out. Their stuff is super great. There's too many for me to think of off the top of my head, but we definitely want to promote them because, as I always say, the main reason or one of the main reasons for capturing these videos is one, take you there if you can't make it, but also to feature these vendors, and maybe if you couldn't pick it up at the show, maybe you can hit them up later.
Right. And I mean, kind of the vendors give these cons like legs, you know? I mean, it's something for you to do when you're not standing in line waiting for to get an autograph or a photo op or whatever, you know?
And you're going to find stuff there that you can't find anywhere else.
Exactly.
I mean, just unbelievable.
I mean, how many of them have we talked to that say we really don't sell online?
Yeah.
You know, you have to buy
really
it in person, and that's pretty fucking cool if you ask me.
It's super cool. Yes, it is. So support your local horror vendors.
Yes.
So one thing I always like to try to include or hope to include on future episodes is what have we been watching independently and together. Like sometimes we're like, hey, let's watch this, or hey, have you seen this? So with Halloween, you know, everybody. We watch, and hopefully these people here that are watching this, we watch scary movies all year long.
Sure.
But a lot of people just reserve that for October. So when I got into the beginning of October, I was on this big Tobe Hooper kick. So had to watch Funhouse on Shudder, which go back and watch that if you haven't. That is some prime Tobe Hooper greatness.
Dude, you call like as soon as you finished that, you were so excited about it. You were like texting me and sending me screenshots and all this. And I was like, man, I can't remember if I ever have watched. I remember seeing it in the video store, like the box, but I don't remember if I ever even watched it. And so now I've got to go back and check it out.
Yeah, and just the opening credits will take you back to the early 80s. If you're our age, wandering around the local carnivals and fairs and the shitty attractions and the dark rides that were, you know, terrible, and the glass mazes. But the opening credit scene alone is really great, but there's a creepy Frankenstein mask, and I don't want to. This isn't a review for Funhouse. We can do that another time, but definitely go watch Funhouse if you want to just get some Tobe Hooper. And then so that led me into watching Salem's Lot because I've got the new Salem's Lot queued up that I want to watch, but I'm like, I need a refresher.
Yep.
So again, Tobe Hooper watched Salem's Lot, and there's two scenes that took me right back to being a scared kid, and it's his friend out the window, you know, scratching on it. That is so creepy to me, and that will always be creepy.
The sounds,
the sound design, and you have to remember this was made for TV. Like going back and watching this, and if you can put it in perspective, this was not okay for TV.
No, especially for kids.
No, and it's directed at kids.
Yeah.
But that scene, and then the scene where the vampire materializes in the kitchen from the cloak on the ground, it's giving me chills right now.
Yeah.
And I posted a shot on Instagram, and I sent it to you because I did not remember him ramming those people's heads together. And
Crunch.
It's funny because their heads don't hit, and it's just a funny move that a vampire would knock these two people out. But then you get past that, and that makeup and that blue color is not a color found in nature on that vampire, and scary.
Yeah.
Like still scary to me for made for TV. Anyways, this is not a Salem's Lot review. But I said that to say this is Maxxxine finally appeared on Max. So we both watched that. So I wanted to see if it just get your nickel and dime version of what you thought about Maxxxine.
Man, I'm telling you, Maxxxine. Mia Goth. I mean, what else are you going to say?
Killer.
The movie didn't strike me as horror. It was more like 80s true crime. And that's cool because I'm into that too.
Yeah.
The way the movie was photographed was insane. The soundtrack was badass.
So good.
Again, Mia Goth's performance was incredible.
Yeah.
There's a couple of scenes in that movie where, like, I can't believe they got her to play Maxxxine because she's too good for it almost. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like the movie was great, but I mean, she's almost too good for that role.
Yes.
I hope that makes sense to everybody, but
Yeah, it does.
the scenes that everybody was talking about, like the scene where they put the the clay on her face to make the prosthetic for this. I mean, come on, man. There was like a quick clip of that where they were showing like the big glop of stuff coming off of her face, and that wasn't supposed to happen, but they left it in because it's so incredible. Like that was just one of those pieces of magic that happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It like I said, it wasn't horror to me, but it was still a great movie. It was a great puzzle piece. I liked it.
I would agree with you that it is not horror at all. Almost, I wouldn't say. I mean, there's some graphic stuff that goes down, but very 80s crime procedural. Brian De Palma.
Yeah,
I like the feel. Kind of, I like that they've got kind of the multiple stories going on. Yeah, so when they were doing the death mask or the life cast, I attempted this in high school. We were doing that as a project, which I don't know if that's safe or if
probably not.
Parents signed off on this.
I mean, it was in the 80s, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So our version, this one made me even more claustrophobic because they just put the whole thing on her face. At least my experience was they laid us out on this high top table, like a makeshift operating table. And you're trusting your art teacher and just kids you go to lunch with.
Yeah.
And so 2 straws out your nose,
which is crazy right now.
Crazy to think. And then they just start piling it on, and they say it needs 10 minutes to set. So they start putting it on, and you almost feel like she did. You can it just starts going black, and then as soon as they tell you, don't swallow, you naturally want to try to. It's like being at the dentist or something, and
I kind of feel like it would be one of those chambers where it's like totally dark and you're in water.
Yes,
sensory deprivation.
Yeah. And I feel like if you can find yourself, or if there's a way to center yourself, but I don't have that. Like I have high anxiety just as a rule. So you start covering my face and my options on breathing, and then tell me, don't swallow. And you're reliant on these 2 straws. Yeah. And it's about a 10-minute thing. And I would love to know how long I lasted. I bet it wasn't even a minute, but they said, signal if you start to freak out. And I very much freaked out just about like she did. Yeah. So it was kind of cool to relive that, watching that. But yeah, all the 80s and the Hollywood, the Bates Motel. I mean, it just makes me want to go back to Universal Studios and do the studio tour. Yes, Bates Motel, all that. So I think that's on my bucket list now, is to take the studio tour and pay the extra to get off the tram and go walk up to the house in the hotel or the motel. But yeah, Maxxxine, I highly recommend it. And I know a lot of people, and movies are subjective. I'm going to say that every time. If everyone liked everything, what a boring world, And then there's nothing to talk about. Like, we can talk about what we don't like and what we do like. But for me, it's subjective. And it's also X. If you look at it, the trilogy, X wasn't like Pearl, and Maxxxine wasn't like X or Pearl. They're all different. I mean, to me, X was Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a nutshell. Pearl was Wizard of Oz in a nutshell, and Maxxxine was Brian De Palma or some kind of 80s, Blood Simple type. I don't know. It was just 3 different things. Yeah. And what a fucking genius Ty West is.
I know, right?
And to have Mia Goth play this character, like we've watched reviews and stuff, and everybody kind of goes back to the same thing. Like, I don't know if you can make these 3 movies as effective if you don't have her. I mean, it's her looks, it's her acting, it's everything.
Right.
So 2 thumbs up for the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
Love them all.
100%. I always felt like each movie was a standalone film.
Yeah.
But I like the little pieces that tie them all together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't feel like, I don't think we have to judge them as a trilogy or judge them as a franchise or series. I mean, I guess that's kind of what they are.
Yeah.
But to me, I would just sit and watch any of them in any order.
Independently.
And I would tell everybody too, watch them in any order you want to.
Yeah.
because they're all great movies by themselves, even if you don't watch the other two or the other,
And
other
that's
three.
And I think that's true because I've run into people that they're like, man, I didn't like Maxxxine, but I loved X. Or Pearl's my favorite.
Right.
Everybody has their favorite, and
Yeah.
that's what makes it so cool. Like you
Right.
don't have to. It's not for everybody, maybe, but
There's little pieces of each one
Yeah.
that, like I said, that tie back together, but they're little pieces of each one that are special to everybody,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, Chris. On the last episode, episode 1,
Yep.
we talked about going to the 50th anniversary screening
We teased.
of Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yes.
at the Bullock Museum in Austin.
First time to ever see it on the big screen.
On the big screen.
for both of us.
Yeah.
It's pretty huge.
Like it could be a podcast all by itself.
It could. Yeah, we'll try to keep it short.
I don't think we have to keep it short. I mean, it was such a crazy, kind of surreal to see it on the big screen and know that Pam was like 3 rows back.
Yeah.
While we were watching it, that was wild, man.
That was so
It was so
cool.
wild.
It was really cool. And the Bob Bullock Museum, what a
Yeah,
venue.
yeah.
Like I guess I've never been in there, and I've definitely never seen a film there, but I would go back again. And what it sounded like is they're restarting this Texas series
Yeah.
on movies made and filmed by Texans for Texans, however
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly. I'm butchering how they were selling it, but I was excited. Like, I mean, I know what to expect. We've seen the movie hundreds of times. We could recite it. We could just talk through the whole movie, but there's something about seeing it on the big screen. Like, I know you noticed some things because it's so big. Like,
Yeah.
there was some stuff going on in that opening scene with that corpse, like the wet and the
That's one thing that I noticed was that opening scene as it's pulling away, like you can see like fluid dripping off the teeth, and
Yeah.
I never noticed that before.
ever, never.
And it just shows how detailed, like for that movie, and you hear about all the how it was low budget or whatever, but that attention to detail that they paid
Yes.
in 1973, you know what I'm saying?
It was unreal. And the equipment, I mean, you think about like what people have to work with today versus what Daniel Pearl and Toby Hooper were doing back then. Oh my God. And speaking of Pam, her approach to the house, and we've all heard of his idea was to shoot low to make make her seem small and the house to seem big. And
Mission accomplished.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
house was menacing.
Yeah.
Like just the walk up was terrifying.
Well, I mean, I've heard that my entire life. Every time anybody talks about that, is like that was the whole purpose of that dolly shot under the swing was to make that house look huge, which it always did, like on TV. But when you see it on the big screen like that, it's like now I understand.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like, I don't care how big your TV is in your house, or if you roll a projector on the side of your house or on a barn. It's not the same as seeing it on the silver screen. And I mean, even like the van pulling up, I mean, every shot was so great. Like, I mean, the blocking and everything it was just, you can't fully appreciate, and it sounds contrived or trite or film aficionado, but you really can't appreciate that film fully unless you see it on the big screen.
Right.
So,
And there's going to be a lot of people that never get to see that.
I know,
So I
and
feel pretty lucky.
I feel very lucky. And
Yeah.
even like, I know they may do like some places may do like a midnight show at a little dollar theater or something. But this was like you said, like Pam was there.
Yeah.
Like
the Texas Film Commission, man.
Yes.
You know?
Like it was so, and like we said, it was our MoMA, but it was our MoMA, and they showed it at the Museum of Modern Art in New York. But this was in Texas, like where it was filmed, blocks away from where they were going to college.
Right.
Just something special about
Like
that.
where it all started.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with like Jim Sidow in the scene where he puts Sally in the truck with the stick. Like, you've heard everybody talk about that scene, but to see it on that screen and to be able to see his facial expressions, just the small little ticks in his face, like he goes from a person that's kind of okay with this to a person that's like way into the torture part of it and then back and forth, that whole thing. And to see that on a screen like that was was pretty wild, man.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was very cool. And the Q&A was, I mean, almost as impressive as watching the film.
Yeah.
You know, it was just so great to hear them sit up there and talk. And we did post the Q&A. You can go watch it on the channel. Some really good stuff in there. There's some stuff I hadn't heard before.
Right.
You know? So I don't know. It was just, to me, and Kim Hinkle.
Rock star.
Yeah, and I have never heard him talk that much.
Right.
Like like we got the picture with him at Frightmare with the whole group in front of the van, and that was cool. But I've never heard him get to talk that much about it, and how fucking cool, man. I mean, just
That Texas voice. I mean, that voice that he has. Like, how is he not a voice actor? You know?
and the screams
Yeah.
in the theater. I mean, Marilyn Burns, Scream Queen. Like, I mean, it was ear shattering.
Exhausting. Like, I was worn out by the time that was over with. And I'm just like, you know, you've read the book and you've heard all the stories and stuff, but how did she talk after that? Like, for months, how did she recover from all that, you know?
Yeah. It was amazing. And the coolest part, well, I don't think there was a coolest part. The whole, like, I can't pick the coolest part, but we were just kind of hanging for a minute afterwards. Like, they showed the film, and then they went about an hour almost, like an hour and change or 50 minutes. Like, they talked. I mean, to me, it was very worth the $12, which I left off the price. The whole thing with the last episode, I was leading into what a steal it was, and I never said it was $12, but it was $12 for a ticket.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out in the lobby afterwards, just kind of milling around, and here comes Terry McMinn.
Yeah.
And I had on and this was totally by design. This was pandering of the highest order. But I had my Terry McMinn shirt that she sells. That's like her shirt. Like, you can't just go buy it. Like, I mean, I don't know who printed it, but she had a lot to do with, and it's huge giant block letters, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, her walking up to the house. And on the back, there's a little tag print that has like her signature. But I saw her across the room.
Yeah.
You know, I was like 10 feet away, but and I kind of flashed my shirt, you know, and then she kind of made the same motion back. Like, I don't think she knew what I was doing at first. She just kind of was like, okay, weirdo.
Yeah.
And she did that. But then she noticed the shirt, and she walked over to us and approached us, and she said, "Where did you get that shirt?" And I said, "Some crazy lady at Texas Frightmare." And she was like, "Oh, how have y'all been?" And, you know, and then we said,
Acted like she recognized us.
and then, you know, how kind of her. She meets so many people, and I can't even remember, you know, anybody that I meet, but she was so kind and took a selfie with us.
Yeah.
And so special. I mean, that was
put that up.
Yes.
For everybody to see, so you can be
on
jealous.
Top. Yeah. Be jealous.
Yeah.
Cherry on top of the night for sure. And they even had, I don't know what the reasoning, but I was here for it. It was a not a modular. It was a diorama of the family house recreated with Peeps. I don't know, but I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing you never knew you wanted to see.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Sort of like this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Just like this
you wanted to
podcast.
hear.
The thing nobody asked for. Nobody asked for a Peep recreation, a miniature of the family house, but I kind of want it, and I kind of want to know who made it. And you swing around the back, and they have 3 little Peeps hanging on hooks.
It's so dark.
Twisted.
So dark.
It's take something, a friendly childhood candy, and turn it dark. But they had the swing. I didn't even think they had filmmakers. I think they had a Toby Hooper or something. They had somebody with a camera. Again, we'll try to drop in a picture or two. But what a memorable evening, and it was a down and back, because 90 minutes down there from where we are, and there was a Formula One or something stupid in town, driving up the price of hotels. So whatever, no offense if you like Formula One, but I don't give a rip. But all it meant was we can't get a hotel.
Yeah.
So we burned the candle at both ends. But we did get down there early and got to do some Austin stuff and have a good lunch and sightsee a little bit. So it was a very memorable experience. I'm glad we did it.
I am too. And the fact that our ladies went with us and humored us all day long, like we went to
Troopers.
South Congress and had some good food and drinks and stuff, but you know, they knew what was going on that afternoon, like that evening, like they knew what they were in store for.
Yeah.
And they were so cool about it. And
They were the ones that kept pointing out that, wow, the screaming was loud.
so loud.
The screaming was a lot.
I don't want to go to the parking lot. I don't want to go to the parking garage after this movie, you know?
A little uneasy.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a fun memory, and what a cool way for us to celebrate the 50th anniversary. The following weekend, they had a big to do down in Kingsland at Hooper's. That's when I was in Houston, but I saw the pictures and it looks like what a cool time. And they had almost everybody that could showed up, and I'm so glad they do that. And I'm so glad the house is still standing there.
Yeah.
I took the following Monday off on my birthday and drove down to Austin and just drove around. And I knew that the area where the house was is now covered, but it makes me sad. It's so stupid, but it makes me sad that there's a fucking high rise or a stupid building on top of this hollowed ground where the chainsaw was filmed. But the only thing that's still there is Quick Hill Road, and it is almost completely grown over.
Yeah.
But I did grab some pieces of asphalt, and I was like, this is history. This is film history. This is at least 15 feet to 30 feet away from where Gunner did the chainsaw dance.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So,
that iconic image,
yeah.
you know?
So I picked up some pieces of gravel, and I'm going to make a shadow box. Like, I need to ask Mark from Disco Bloodbath some tips on how I can affix that concrete to the box. But yeah, I mean, it was just, it's special to go back there and stand where this Texas royalty was, you know.
Film history was made.
Film history was
Horror
made.
history was made there.
Horror history. Yeah. You don't get a lot of this other stuff without Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
All right, man. So, like, I feel like this has been a lot
I think
to
this
take
has
in.
been a lot.
Yeah. So we'll let everybody get their afternoon back or whatever it is.
If you're still with us.
Yeah, if you're still with us. So what's on the horizon? The horror horizon.
The horror horizon. So big picture, sort of chronological order, I would say probably for sure, like locked in March, we'll have Cult Classic Convention in Bastrop, the return of Joe Bob Briggs and Darcy.
God, I hope I get to go to that one, man.
I know it's going to be so cool. I've got it. I'll be there. I've actually already bought my tickets for that, but yeah, Joe Bob and Darcy, you got to go. You got to make the trip to Bastrop. It's a smaller show, but I almost like that better sometimes.
Yeah.
It's more accessible.
It's like seeing a band in a small venue. You know what I mean?
It is. It's very intimate. It's even like, it's more, even the long lines aren't that long. You're not going to wait 4 hours to meet them. You might wait an hour, but, and they're doing some great stuff with that show down there. I really like it. And you have the gas station is there. You have, Friday the 13th, the remake from 2009, 11, whatever it was, but, got some shots down there. You can go see filming locations. The bridge from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Like Bastrop is just a cool city. And it's always a great show. I always enjoy going to that one. Because it's a smaller one. It's almost like a starter convention.
Yeah.
Like if you've never been to one and you're thinking about going to one, go to Cult Classic and then you're not going to be totally overwhelmed. So yeah,
and that's in Bastrop?
That's in Bastrop, Texas,
okay.
at the convention center. The hotel is off site, so you drive about 2 or 3 miles to and from,
and that's close to
it's very close to the gas station. It's all right there. So Cult Classic Convention, please look them up, and then of course May Texas Frightmare Weekend.
Right on.
Urban Convention Center.
On.
Ticket secured, hotel secured.
Yes.
Bruce Campbell will be there. They've named, was it fucking Ty West?
Yes.
Is he there?
Yes.
Oh my God.
How did that happen?
How in the hell did they get that? I mean, talk about relevant.
Yeah.
You've got Lisa Frankenstein. You got actors from that movie. They're slow dripping it right now because it's a long ways off.
Right.
But then it's never too far to look ahead to August. And Tony just opened tickets for Houston Horror Film Fest today at 1:00. So as we're filming this, tickets went on sale for Houston Horror Film Fest. So go get those tickets secured as well.
I'll do that this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. So that's the horror horizon. There's going to be some other things I'm looking at to try to go to in between these, but those are the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
those are the 3 non-negotiables: Cult Classic Convention, Texas Frightmare Weekend, Houston Horror Film Fest. Every year,
Gonna burn those days off.
Yes, burn those days off.
Yeah,
Vacation
yeah.
days, big time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a good way to end episode 2 of the Lazer Wagon podcast, the podcast that nobody asked for.
Nobody did. Yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna say?
What else are you gonna say? Leave us some comments. What do you like? What do you don't like? Have you seen Maxxxine? Anything related to this podcast or other? What do you want us to talk about? Do you want us to review a movie or give you our thoughts on a movie? We're not going to review it, and you can find that anywhere.
Right,
but,
right. We're just gonna talk about it.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about it
because we dig them.
Yeah, we dig them. We're going to talk about stuff we like.
Yeah, and then you know, the collectibles. You know, if somebody's got a cool collectible out there that they want to share,
Yeah.
you know, we want to hear about that. Send some photographs. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed this, but pay attention to what this is from, and we'll talk about this on a later podcast.
Let's do that.
Cool.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sam.
See you, bro.
Bye.
Monster kids make pretty pictures of ugly things and write pretty words about awful sing-song discordant notes and vomit when they drink too much.